Hey guys, it's Matt, 43 to have a product review on this brand new Lionel Legacy Nickel Plate Road 264 Berk. This engine is simply amazing. It's the newest run of this Lionel Berk. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, check YouTube or check Lionel's website. This thing just looks amazing. It's killer. Beautiful engine. So we're going to take a look at the details and run this thing. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. This engine was first offered in Lionel's 2014 Signature Edition catalog. In addition to the Nickel Plate road name, they also had a Chesapeake and Ohio, Erie, and 2 road numbers of the Pierre Marquette. In addition to those names, they also had a regular Polar Express with the passenger cars and the engine. And they also had a gold version. Now, the gold version and the other black version were for the 10th anniversary of the Polar Express, and they come with the larger Polar style pilot as opposed to the regular pilot like on the model you see in front of you guys. Some of the basic features of this engine: it has Legacy equipped for it. It's got the Legacy rail sound, it's the Odyssey 2 speed control, it's got the whistle steam smoke effect right here. It's got the wireless tether, the electrocoupler, and a lot of nice detailing, which we'll take a look in just a moment. This Nickel Plate Road version also comes with a Mars light, a separate Mars light smoke box. It has a headlight and a Mars light right above it to simulate a freight version, which when it comes out of the box, it comes with just the standard headlight. And I like it that way, so I will most likely not be changing it out. If you want someone else to do that, ask them for a video on that, but I will not be doing it. So this engine was under Lionel's built-to-order program, so if you want one, I'd recommend checking a dealer like Charles Rowe or somebody like that that has them, because if you don't, you can pretty much forget about owning this engine because they only made the amount of orders that they got. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at all the details on this engine, and then we will go ahead and power it up and run it a little later. I have a flashlight shining on this part so you can get a better look at the detail on the pilot. On the pilot you have a movable coupler cut bar, which does move up. It has a chain and pin on it which goes into a dummy scale coupler. You can replace this with a dummy O-gauge coupler that comes in the box if you want to double head this thing. And you also have some running board detail right here, which looks nice. Along the side of the engine, this running gear on the bottom here is very nicely done. It looks really awesome when the engine is running. You have this nice handrail detail which leads down on the boiler. You have this nice ring shroud which is very nicely applied. On the firebox, which you really can't see very well, you have the variable ash pan glow, which looks very nice. Up at the top here you got NYC and STL. That is the route that this engine ran. It went from New York City to St. Louis, so that's why that's up there on that sand dome up there. The outside of the cab is very nicely done. You have a window right here. There is no window right where the engineer figure is, but it's not that big of a deal. You have the white part underneath the road number 765. It also extends right here, which you can see. And up on the top you have a opening roof hatch. It's probably hard to see in here. Again, I have the flashlight going. Inside the cab you have a nicely detailed back head. There is no lighted gauges or even painted gauges, but that's not really that big of a deal to me. You have a firebox which does have the firebox glow. Then you also have a cab light. On top of the engine you also have some very nice detail. You have this nice little piece up here. I'm not exactly sure what it is. If any of you guys know, I'd like to know. You have a smokestack which does have an operating smoke unit inside it. To fill it, you just put your fluid directly down the stack. You have this nice little detail right here, which looks nice. You have this safety valve right here, which also looks very good. You have this sand dome right here, which is very nice. And then right here is the whistle, which is very nice. And it also has the whistle steam smoke effect, as I described in the features. Now, this does not have a separate smoke hole. You fill it when you fill the stack. If this thing ever stops smoking, what I would recommend is I would recommend one of 3 things. I would recommend blowing down just the whistle hole, which is right here, sticking a needle down it and squeezing air into it, or using a pipette to blow air into it, or just use your mouth. You can do that too, whatever you think. And also, I'd also recommend trying to blow down the stack. I've done that and it's cleared it, so that's fine there. You also have this dome back here. Now this does not pop off for the controls. The controls are underneath the engine. I'm not going to spin it around to show you them, but they are underneath the engine. You got the Odyssey control switch, the run program, and the smoke switch. And the smoke switch is for both the stack and the whistle, since they share the same reservoir. You have this nice set of pop-out valves here. You got some dynamo pieces here, and then some very nice detail coming along here. Just as nice as the engine is this tender that comes with the thing. It is very nice. It has the nickel plate name spelled out on the side, which looks nice. I got a flashlight so you can see it a little better. It also too has the NYC and STL. Again, that is the route that this train ran on. It ran between New York City and St. Louis. You have this nice bunker real coal up here. Maybe a little hard to see, at least on the video, but these hatches open up. They're split so they don't open together, but they have the volume control underneath here. Along the back of the tender, you have an operating backup light right here. You have the amount of water and coal that the engine stores with it. You have a ladder. You have the engine's road number 765, and you also have an operating coupler as well as a coupler cut bar. That covers the details on this wonderful locomotive. Before we run it though, I do want to give you my favorite feature on this locomotive. I actually have two. My first one is the whistle on this engine. It really sounds great. When I turn this engine on and blow the whistle, you'll see what I mean. It's the real whistle that is recorded from the actual 765, which Nickel Plate has restored, and it is in the Fort Wayne Society hands. And it's awesome. If you guys have ever seen it in real life, you know what I'm talking about. It's awesome. My second favorite feature is a little bit personal, so you guys may not agree with it, but this is our first scale Berk from MTH or Lionel. My dad has a chassis Berk and Rail King, but this is our first scale Berk, and I have to say this thing is just killer. Again, if you're interested in this thing, you wouldn't regret it. It's a beautiful engine. So let's go ahead and power it up and run it. Okay, so we're all set and ready to get this engine moving. I'm using my Lionel Legacy remote for any guys who may be new to this, and I'm going to go ahead and power it up by using the extended startup sequence, which is activated by pressing and holding this.
This is the dispatcher. Do you copy?
Roger that, dispatcher. I read you. Over.
Okay, start her up. Stand by for track orders.
Gotcha, dispatcher. Let's get to work. Out.
The coolest part about this thing is that they have Rich Melvin's voice in the crew talk, which is really kind of nice, because Rich Melvin actually is the engineer for this train. Okay, so here's the whistle. You can see the whistle steam smoke effect in the background there. Here's a couple of sound effects. You got the cylinder blowdown effect. You got a water sound. Now if you just tap it, you get that, but if you press and hold it, I'm still holding it. Then when you let go, it'll tell you that the water tank is full, and it'll sound like this.
The water's full. Over.
Affirmative. Out.
Here's a couple of the crew talk sound effects.
Dispatcher, made up. Can we depart to the main line? Over.
Negative. Please stand by. Over.
Copy that. Sit tight. Out.
Here's another one.
Dispatcher here. Please stand by. Over.
Yes, sir. Waiting on a clear signal. Out.
Here's one more.
Dispatcher, the water's full. Am I clear to make a move?
Over.
Copy that. Clear to the outbound. Here we go. Out.
And finally, here's the bell. That, of course, was the continuous ringing bell. You can do just a single hit bell if you want, like this. Okay, we're just about ready to take this thing for a spin, but before we do, I'm going to go ahead and activate sequence control, so some of the sound effects will be automated. You use the aux 1 key, you press and hold it. And then behind the thing, I've got a set of MTH Premier Pennsylvania and New York Central Madison cars. It looks really sharp behind this thing, and I think you'll agree that it looks good. So let's go ahead and run this thing.
Dispatcher, I see that signal. We're good to go. Over.
Roger that. Out.
Tower, we're moving. Over.
Roger that. Have a good run. Out.
Well, anyway, that about wraps up for this review. This engine is killer, as I've said many times in this review. This engine is just amazing. If you can find one, pick one up. These things retail for right at $14.50, and if you can find one, get one. They were under Lionel's built-to-order program, so you may have a tough time locating one, but if you do, I would not hesitate buying it. This thing is just awesome. So that's going to do it for me in this one. We'll catch you guys later.